Okay, let me start that paragraph again. I'm not sure where we got cut off. If we wanted to live like Indians, you could make a hole in the roof to let the smoke out, and we'd have the fire on the floor inside the house, said Ma. Indians do. That afternoon she washed the clothes in the tub and spread them on the grass to dry. After supper they sat for a while by the campfire. That night they would sleep in the house. They would never sleep beside a campfire again. Pa and Ma talked about the folks in Wisconsin, and Ma wished she could send them a letter, but Independence was 40 miles away, and no letter could go until Pa made the long trip to the post office there. Back in the big woods so far away, Grandpa and Grandma and the aunts and uncles and cousins did not know where Pa and Ma and Laura and Mary and baby Carrie were. And sitting there by the campfire, no one knew what might have happened in the big woods. There was no way to find out. That's something that's really different. Back then, all they could do is mail a letter, and it took a while for it to get there, and then they would have to wait for the other people to send them back a letter to know what was going on. Here's a picture of inside the house, how it looks now. There's a quilt covering the door. The two beds are down on the dirt floor. The roof is just a piece of canvas over the boards. And the windows, it's not showing there, but they're just holes. Well, it's bedtime, Ma said. Baby Carrie was already asleep. Ma carried her into the house and undressed her, while Mary unbuttoned Laura's dress and petticoat waist down the back, and Pa hung a quilt over the door hole. The quilt would be better than no door. Then Pa went out to bring Pet and Patty close to the house. He called back softly, "Come out here, Caroline, and look at the moon." Mary and Laura lay in their little bed on the ground inside the new house and watched the sky through the window hole to the east. The edge of the big bright moon glittered at the bottom of the window space, and Laura sat up. She looked at that great moon sailing silently higher in the clear sky. Its light made silvery lines in all the cracks on that side of the house. The light poured through the window hole and made a square of soft radiance on the floor. It was so bright that Laura saw Ma plainly when she lifted the quilt at the door and came in. Then Laura very quickly lay down before Ma saw her naughtily sitting up in bed. She heard Pet and Patty whinnying softly to Pa. Then the faint thuds of their feet came into her ear from the floor. Pet and Patty and Pa were coming toward the house, and Laura heard Pa singing, "Sail on, silver moon, shed your radiance o'er the sky." His voice was like a part of the night and the moonlight and the stillness of the prairie. He came to the doorway singing, "By the pale silver light of the moon." Softly Ma said, "Hush, Charles, you'll wake the children." So Pa came in without a sound. Jack followed at his heels and lay down across the doorway. Now they were all inside the stout walls of their new home, and they were snug and safe. Drowsily, Laura heard a long wolf howl rising from far away on the prairie, but only a little shiver went up her backbone, and she fell asleep. Okay, be sure you have your piece of paper ready for the questions. Number 1, what is one thing Mr. Edwards could do really well? A hint is that Laura tried to do it too. The answer? He could spit tobacco juice really far and aim to hit a spot. But if you just said he could spit tobacco juice, that's fine. Number 2, what did Mr. Edwards do when Pa was playing his fiddle? Answer is, you could either say he was dancing or later he was walking back home. Number 3, what did Paul use for a temporary roof? He used the canvas wagon cover. If you just said the wagon cover or the boards in the wagon cover, that's fine as well. Number 4, the house was finished except for several things. Besides the roof, there were some other things that weren't finished. Name at least one of those. The answer, you could have either said the floor, the door, or the windows. Number 5, what did Paul tell Ma to come out and look at toward the end of that chapter? He told her to come and look at the moon. Have a great day. Talk to you tomorrow.